Welcome back. Welcome back. You made Don McKay in here. Don McKay in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com. Happy Monday to you. Of course, here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with original reporting from across the country, emanating from our studios in Baltimore and Atlanta. Show us fun, show us upbeat, but I also have to expose what is really going on in this country, and there is a lot going on, a lot of stories we're going to get into today. Of course, new episodes of the program drop Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., but I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts. In addition to the 8 a.m. program, we deliver content throughout the day as news happens, so hit that notification bell so you get an alert whenever we go live. As I said, so much to get into today. I don't even know where to start. So much to get into. And of course, on social media, I'm at the Don McKay Show at Radio on Fire. So I guess we need to start with the drone strike. U.S. says that the Kabul drone strike, which killed 10 civilians, including children. Tragic mistake is what they're saying now. We're going to definitely need to unpack that. So, of course, you remember the Afghanistan debacle. I mean, you want to call it a debacle. It's been a 20-year debacle. 20 years in the making. This has just been a cluster in this region. So a drone strike last month, you remember, killed what they said that this was the drone strike that was answering the suicide bombing. That's what they said. Now, it was a rush job. They were under a lot of pressure. So Friday, U.S. apologized for what they call a tragic mistake. The Pentagon said that the August 29th strike targeted an Islamic State suicide bomber who posed an imminent threat to the U.S.-led troops at the airport as they tried to complete the last stages of the withdrawal from Afghanistan. So they said that they had intelligence. You know, we constantly hear about the intelligence that they had, right? Said that they had the intelligence. We constantly hear about these experts. They should have known what was going on. And if you don't know, then you don't do it. But constantly, there is mistakes, what they call collateral damage, with these drone strikes. And a lot of times these drone strikes, which were improperly done, innocents killed, this is the type of things that further radicalize folks. This creates this vendetta against whoever the victims were and the U.S. This is the kind of incompetence that furthers tensions. So anyway, you remember seeing and hearing about this. So this was, the results. But what we have is haste, trying to respond to pressure that was going on. The Biden administration definitely wants to separate itself from Afghanistan and put that in the rearview mirror. This, of course, making it hard. Rushing to be wrong? I don't believe in rushing. Right? I do not believe in haste decisions, especially when we're talking about life and death decisions. We have a crisis of incompetence. These are supposed to be the people that are supposed to know what they're talking about. So without taking the proper time, and they found this vehicle around what they said 8 hours. They thought he was putting hazardous materials in the vehicle. Turns out it was water. Turns out it was canisters of water. but they just had their mind. Now they're like, oh, we're so sorry. This is what worries me about some of the rushed medicine, some of the rushed vaccines that's happening. Oh, well, this was the intelligence that we had at the time, and we thought we were doing the right thing, and now it turns out we were wrong. That's why you got to take your time when you're doing things that are life and death. Got to take your time. So this drone strike, it really reveals some uncomfortable truths. Even as reports of civilian casualties emerged, the top U.S. general said that the attack was righteous, right? They thought they had the right dude. No, you didn't. You did not have the right dude. And we have got to stop being so quick to make these decisions. These are the U.S. drone strike victims. And as you can see, a lot of kids there. And yes, times of war, it is a sad thing, but it does happen. And this incompetence is not excusable. Well, it's war, stuff happens. The U.S. head of Central Command Marine Corps General said that at the time he had been confident it averted an imminent threat to forces at the airport. That's what he wanted to believe. So, I mean, if you got a hammer, I guess everything looks like a nail. The U.S. often is unsure about who will die. They don't even know. And another sad thing about this is the Biden administration, which I will commend them for coming forward and admitting this mistake and owning it. The Trump administration wouldn't do anything like that. Actually, back in October 2017, Trump abolished an Obama-era approved system in favor of a looser, decentralized approach, which gave the military and CIA officials the discretion to decide to launch drone strikes against targets without White House approval. A policy like this, of course, reduces accountability for drone strikes. And that's what this is all about, isn't it? Accountability. Who is responsible when these mistakes happen? Who is responsible? So after President Biden took office, he halted the counterterrorism drone strikes without White House approval and initiated a broad review of U.S. policy on drone use. Okay, that's fine. But now that places accountability, at least includes the White House in that line of accountability. I thought that it was quick for them to just say that they had somebody in sight. So anybody in sight, you just kill somebody. They were under pressure. The airport was a debacle, and they needed something to have some good news reporting, and they did that. And for a moment, you did have some good news reports. But now the smoke has cleared, and it turns out that they were wrong, deadly wrong. Deadly wrong. So, as I said, the Trump administration really tried to take away some of that accountability. Back in 2016, President Barack Obama signed an executive order requiring annual accounting of civilian and enemy casualties in U.S. drone strikes outside war zones, areas outside of active hostilities. And it set a deadline of May the 1st each year to release such reports. Trump, as I said, designated large areas in Yemen and Somalia to be areas of active hostilities, thus exempting those areas from disclosure. So, what they consider to be wartime areas and stuff where we have a lot of things going on that are involving hostiles, they don't want to talk about that. Trump administration also ignored the 2017 and 2018 deadlines. And on March 6th of 2019, he just revoked the requirement altogether. So war zones. Since 2016, Congress has enacted legislation separately requiring the Defense Department to release annual reports about bystander deaths from all of its operations, including strikes inside of war zones, such as Syria, such as Afghanistan. So as you can see, it's a lot of back and forth, double speak, things that could be confusing. I do commend the Biden administration for accepting the blame. It was coming out anyway. And in this day and time, it's really hard to hide things. In this time of social media, it's really hard to hide these things. So it was going to come out. It was going to come out. It was coming out. So they accepted what was the obvious. I do commend them for that. But at the same time, I got to slam them for buckling under pressure, making hasty decisions, and not being sure. So they're talking about giving reparations or some type of money to some of the families of the victims. I guess, but that doesn't bring back the folks. You're going to have people that are angry. And what can you do in this time? Here's what you can do. Be sure next time. These are supposed to be the experts. These are supposed to be, the ones who know what they're doing. Supposed to be. So if you are the ones who know what they're doing, act like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. Of course, I am here daily, 8 a.m., giving you my spin, my take on the top news stories of the day. And of course, we have some sponsors that help us do this show. If you need a flyer, Flyers on Fire is where you go. They can design a quality digital flyer for you in 24 hours. If you are promoting something on social media, Flyers on Fire can help you brand your message with a quality flyer. Visit them on Instagram at Flyers on Fire. So definitely, how many times do you need a flyer? You need something quick. Flyers on Fire is where you go, as I said, on Instagram. You can also get Diamond K in the Morning, which is a Radio on Fire production. You get the show on demand, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, YouTube.com/DJ Diamond K, WRF Radio. Download that app in your app store. Leave me a comment. You can scroll your timeline, attend a Zoom meeting on mute, all while listening to Diamond K in the Morning. Do that online shopping, whatever you got to do. Hashtag Diamond K in the Morning. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with more of the program after this. Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here. Diamond K in the Morning is brought to you in part by jstoverbeauty.com. I want to talk directly to my ladies out there. If you are looking for those must-have beauty products, look no further. jstoverbeauty.com has quality wigs, Indian hair extensions, virgin hair extensions, professional hair care products, edge control, flat iron mist, mink eyelashes, satin wig bags, wax sticks, lace concealer, lace tint, and so much more. JStoverBeauty.com does custom wig making, maintenance, and revamp services. You can check them out on social media. JStoverBeauty on Instagram, JStoverBeauty LLC on Facebook. Be a girl with mind, a woman with attitude, and a lady with class. Visit JStoverBeauty.com. And of course, we are back. Your man Diamond K in here, Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com. So there was a whole lot of talk about it, a whole lot of hoopla. What am I talking about? The justice for the J6 rally was underwhelming. Police actually outnumbered the Capitol protesters. Is that what we call? I guess that's what we call them, right? Capitol protesters. Police actually outnumbering those folks. So you heard a lot of talk about this rally that was in support of the Capitol rioters. There was a lot of talk about it. There was a uptick in chatter online talking about this. And as the weekend approached, they put the fence back up around the White House. There was all kinds of stuff going on. The city, D.C., is still on edge after the January 6th insurrection. Law enforcement bore down in large numbers over the weekend, right on the Capitol. They were concerned about this. This was a rally that was supposed to support jailed rioters. They thought that it might turn violent. However, the crowd was sparse and the incidents were few. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. Now, the only clear parallels between the riot from more than 8 months ago, I guess almost 9 months ago, by supporters of former President Trump were the false claims, aka the lies put forth by the rally organizers about the violence on that January day, that infamous day when Congress met to certify the election of Joe Biden. The low turnout also called into question whether such rallies will have staying power. Right? Take a look at this crowd. Very small crowd there. And as I said, this low turnout has people questioning the impact of such gatherings without the presence of the former president. So law enforcement was prepared for a lot more. They were prepared for some type of a confrontation. They erected a big fence around the Capitol, had heavy dump trucks, but local police and the National Guard were on standby. Thankfully, they were not needed. Now, if there are other rallies coming up, that doesn't mean that they need to downplay it and get caught with their pants down. That means that they need to be ready. They need to take these incidents, these threats, seriously. Security might have been unnecessary in the end, but the volatility around this lie that the 2020 election was stolen, which it was not, the presence of extremists, white nationalists, and these racist groups on January the 6th have made it impossible to predict how these events will go. So we have to be ready. We have to be ready. So U.S. Capitol Police said that they received intelligence, leading up to the weekend, and that was similar to what they missed on January the 6th when law enforcement was only expecting a free speech protest. Got much more when the Trump supporters violently stormed the Capitol. So lawmakers, including those that voted that day to challenge Biden's election, avoided the rally. That was smart. The counter protesters, which there were, and that was a concern, they stood by and jeered. Some held some anti-Trump signs, and one man who confronted some of the pro-Trump protesters was quickly removed by the police. The cops used bicycles to shield from the crowd as they escorted him down the street. One person was arrested in the crowd for carrying a knife. Second man was arrested after someone reported to officers that they saw him carrying what they thought was a handgun. Two other people who police say were wanted in Texas for a firearm charge and a probation violation were also arrested after being pulled over Saturday morning near the Capitol. So we all remember what we saw January the 6th, the disgusting display that we saw at that time. Thankfully, this was not that. Thankfully. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Dom and Kay Show, at Radio on Fire, of course. You can check us out. You can support the program. Very easy to do that. I am able to deliver our news and our views on Dom and Kay in the morning because of our listeners, sponsors, and of course, your donations. That is something that is much needed for this media platform. RadioOnFire.com/advertise. You can definitely do that. Make a one-time donation. Join the Radio on Fire VIP Club. On social media at The Dom and Kay Show, at Radio on Fire. Also, it is the 10th annual Baltimore Music Awards. These awards were created to give recognition to Baltimore's entertainment community each year. You have the opportunity to nominate and vote for the winners in each category. The 2021 categories are as follows: album, DJ, documentary, female artist, male artist, producer, inspirational artist, online radio station, online radio show, podcast, radio station, radio show, stand-up comedian, and web series. Winners for the 2021 Baltimore Music Awards will be announced Thursday, November the 4th, 7 p.m. live on RadioOnFire.com. It's the 10th annual Baltimore Music Awards. Let your voice be heard at this year's celebration of Baltimore entertainment. Visit RadioOnFire.com/Baltimore Music Awards. So as always, we are excited about the Baltimore Music Awards. This is the 10th annual. Make sure that you let your voices be heard this year. So always excited about the BMAs whenever this time of year comes around, because there is so much talent in Baltimore, and we like to be one of the many opportunities for artists to be recognized. There are other shows here in the city, and I support all of those shows. To do this, take a quick break. Come back with more of Diamond K in the Morning after this. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Your man Diamond K in here, and I'm looking online. It's so much craziness online. We were talking about on the other side the underwhelming rally that Trump supporters had. Get that picture. Trump supporters over the weekend had this rally that they were trying to support the January 6th insurrectionists, the traitors from January the 6th that stormed the Capitol, the Trump supporters. So as you remember, on January the 6th, dozens of law enforcement officers were left bloodied and beaten by a crowd of pro-Trump rioters. Some of them were armed with pipes, with bats, with bear spray. Now, this is coming from the people that's supposed to love the cops, right? Supposed to be the ones that love the cops. They did not show that then. They quickly overran and overwhelmed the police force. One officer was beaten and shocked with a stun gun repeatedly until he had a heart attack. You remember that. These folks are trying to now say that the people who committed these acts are political prisoners. I mean, you can't be serious. So they had this flop of a rally over the weekend. And according to the Associated Press, who have reviewed hundreds of court and jail records, these Capitol rioters, the defendants, they were trying to uncover, the Associated Press, AP, trying to uncover how many were being detained, and they found roughly 63 held in federal custody. 63. These are people that are waiting for trial, for sentence hearings. At least 30 of them are jailed in DC. The rest are locked up in facilities across the country. They have said that they are being treated unfairly, and one defendant says that he was beaten. So there's always that. Stay tuned. More of the program after this. Welcome back. Diamond K in the Morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. So the border is always something at the border. U.S. has closed parts of the Texas border. There has been an influx of Haitians trying to come into the country. They have begun flying Haitians home. The United States acted yesterday to stem the flow of migrants into Texas by blocking the Mexican border at an isolated town where thousands of Haitian refugees set up a camp, and American officials began flying some of the migrants back to their homelands. I mean, the numbers here are just unreal. I mean, look at that. Unreal at the border. About a dozen Texas Department of Public Safety vehicles lined up near the bridge and the river where the Haitians have been crossing from Mexico into Del Rio, Texas for almost 3 weeks. Migrants initially found other ways to cross nearby until they were confronted by the feds and state law enforcement. So the numbers is just crazy. Eventually, folks being stopped by Border Patrol agents who are on horseback and Texas law enforcement as they cross. Some Haitians carried boxes on their heads filled with food. Some removed their pants before getting into the river and carrying them. Others were unconcerned about getting wet. The numbers at the border. It's just, it is, it's sad because these folks, these are poor folks that are trying to find a better way in life. Mexico said Sunday that it would also begin deporting Haitians to their homeland. Government officials said that flights would be from towns near the U.S. border and the border with Guatemala, where the largest group remains. So what is going on here? Haitians have begun they've been migrating into the U.S. in large numbers for several years. Many have left their Caribbean nation after the devastating earthquake of 2010. Jobs dried up from the 2016 Summer Olympics, and many made the dangerous trek by foot, bus, by car to the U.S. border. And it is, they had to go through the infamous Darien Gap, Panamanian jungle, a lot of things going on there, and a lot of reasons why this is happening. But we have to get this under control. The borders have to be secure. So U.S. closing part of the Texas border as it begins to fly Haitians home. We've seen some of the photos, and it's sad. I feel bad for a lot of these folks. I feel bad for them. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do this, and it has to be done the right way. We cannot have our borders just overrun. So as I said as many times, there's some things that I am conservative about, some things that I'm liberal about. Call it what you want. You may Dominic K in here, Dominic K in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com, and there has been a lot of talk about the Pfizer vaccine. And the Pfizer, the company, the drug manufacturer Pfizer, has released a list of side effects from the COVID-19 vaccine booster. There have been talks about booster shots. You heard the president talking about September 20th, it's going to be some booster shots, or the week of, right? It's September 20th. Booster shots, for the most part, are probably not going to be happening. So they're probably not going to be happening, at least not right now. In 65 and older folks, and folks who are compromised, folks that are, running the risk of really having some bad outcomes, they're getting booster shots. Everybody else, the younger set of folks, they're not getting boosters right now. That's what it appears to be. The FDA saying last week that the current COVID-19 vaccines offer significant protection against severe disease and death from coronavirus. So it is suggesting that there isn't a need for booster shots right now. This could change, but I'm just saying what the president went out on a limb and just said, or kind of tried to, strong arm may not be the right word, but he just tried to make this proclamation because they looked at some data, but it does not appear that that is what is happening, or that is what's going to happen, or that is what needs to happen. So as I said, Pfizer released some data on the side effects from their drug. And here's what it came up with. We're talking about the side effects from the COVID-19 booster shot. Actually, these side effects are very similar to the side effects from the second dose. Very similar. So the FDA also put out what the drug company said. 63.7% had fatigue, 48.4% suffered from headaches, 39.1% felt muscle pain after booster shots. This is in 306. So the company said that most of the symptoms were mild. They said that most of the symptoms were moderate. Pfizer said that in 44 booster recipients out of 306 had at least one side effect. So it's a very small sample size. I mean, it's not a lot of people, right? It's not a lot of people. Overall, the data, according to FDA, indicate that currently the U.S. licensed or authorized COVID-19 vaccines still afford protection against severe COVID-19 and death. So that's the thing, and I don't want people to be confused. Yes, most vaccines, you would think, protect you from getting whatever the disease is. Currently, these vaccines don't necessarily prevent you from getting it. It kind of lessens your symptoms and lessens the severity. Some folks are not comfortable with that and want a little bit more. Most commonly in the vaccine booster shots, they're talking about swollen lymph nodes. Pfizer hopes that the FDA will approve the third dose of its vaccine in folks 16 and up. But as I said, that has not happened just yet. So we talked about the side effects, according to Pfizer, from its COVID-19 vaccine booster, and those turn out to be very similar to the second dose. So we're going to continue to follow this, of course, as more news comes out. Stay tuned. It's Dom McKay in the morning on the all-new RadioOnFire.com. Welcome back. You made Dom McKay in here. Dom McKay in the morning on the all-new RadioOnFire.com. And I have had a great time today talking about stuff. I'm going to get into the mix 12 noon today. You can check me out. And also Saturday and Sunday, 6 p.m., RadioOnFire.com. Also tonight, 7 p.m., the RTV project, the RTV show. A lot of things going on there. If you want to get in touch with me, DJ Dom McKay at gmail.com. Of course, at the Dom McKay Show, at Radio on Fire. And Wednesday, my father will be here joining me for the Father and Son News Show. You can check us out live, 6 p.m. Wednesday, RadioOnFire.com. It's been real. I will see you guys tomorrow.